we can't do anything about it. Like, our hands are tied. We have tried every route.
Carney really picked the best and brightest, didn't he? Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we got the Conservatives exposing that Mark Carney has a minister who in the past harassed a college employee, making this person's life a living hell for 8 months. Carney made this person one of his new ministers. It's just every day something's blowing up in Carney's face here in Canada. Such as with the next story, his public safety minister refusing to do an inquiry into why Paul Bernardo was moved from maximum security prison to a medium security prison. Why are they protecting this guy? Got some other topics here on housing and some other stuff. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got some new polling data from Simieritsch. We're showing Conservatives 40%, Liberals 41%, NDP down to 8%. This is coming from Spark. I've never heard that one before. Sample size 3,400, so a pretty decent size on this one. Simieritsch has this one modeled out here, so this would be 160 seats for the Liberals, -9 seats, and the Conservatives at 137, -7. The Bloc gaining 8, and the NDP gaining 6. And once again, a Liberal minority. Got Mark Carney here saying, I met with Mayor Sutcliffe today. We're going to build big things, make our city safer, and bring down the cost of living for the people of Ottawa together. Yeah, right. Okay. Meanwhile, there's a guy just went into a restaurant with a machine pew-pew and just started unloading. Thanks for nothing. And one of their first bills is to have more control over us, not control over the bad guys. They could just repeal the Hug-a-Thug law and we'd already be in much better position. Really? Can you post the specifics online? For example, make cities safer, start date, goals, dates to achieve goals by, people involved, costs, etc. Ouch. Sharon Young here roasting Mark Carney in the comments. Words are cheap and fall flat, especially your slogans. We are all looking action. Next up, we got Melanie Jolie here, not answering questions. She says it straight out.
Trump and Carney are talking. Are you any closer to reaching a deal? How would you describe those discussions?
Guys, do you really think I'll answer that question? No, but I won't answer that question. We won't negotiate in public, and we'll let the Prime Minister do his work. And we will let all ministers do their work. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is going to be the one time that I agree with Melanie Jolie. When you're doing negotiations, you're not going to go broadcast it on Cpac. Justin Trudeau would do that. He would do that, but Captain Schmuck is gone. When it comes down to it, though, this space cadet, she's not going to save the steel industry. She's not going to do anything. I don't know why she's here. I don't care if she's a lawyer. She was an awful foreign affairs minister, and she's an even worse industry minister. Get that girl a drink. Yeah, her spending budget on the stumbling juice, that story came out, I don't know, it was 6 or 8 months ago. Tens of thousands of dollars on stumbling juice for her department. I'm thinking even when there's agreements signed, we won't get the full story. I agree. There'll probably be some other story there that we won't know of. Got this one from Table Salt. It says Liberal priorities in chronological order. Bill C2, this is the one I've reported on the channel here a couple times already. Allowing the government to order tech giants to install tracking software on your phone and to open up our mail willy-nilly however they want. Bill C3, allowing chain citizenship for new citizens who spend a minimum of 3 years in Canada in their entire life. Welcome to week 2. So this Bill C3 is exactly as he says here. If someone's been here 3 years, then they can bring in their whole family. Once again, people should be vetted one by one individually and then brought in, not, oh, you're related, come on in. So next up, we have quite the display here. So Raquel Dancho, Conservative, brings up a situation, as it says, a Liberal cabinet minister from Manitoba was revealed to have engaged in several instances of workplace harassment. Today, I asked the Prime Minister who promoted this person to cabinet and believed this conduct to be acceptable. I did not receive an answer.
Speaker, we learned some disturbing news today. A Liberal cabinet minister from Manitoba has been found to have a serious history of harassment and unprofessional conduct in the workplace. A former subordinate said they endured humiliation, intimidation, and months of psychological warfare by this minister in her previous job. This is obviously completely unacceptable and unworthy of a minister of the Crown. The Prime Minister decides who sits around the cabinet table. So was he unaware of this disturbing history of workplace abuse, or did he know and just didn't care?
Yeah! The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my colleague is obviously committed to fostering a healthy work environment for everyone in the workplace, characterized by collegiality and mutual respect, and that's what we have to say on the matter. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the victim's experience was substantiated by an independent review conducted by a law firm, and many people have been victims of workplace bullying, and few have the courage to speak out, but this brave woman did, and she attempted to contact the Liberal Party, who didn't even dignify her with a response. So really, what message does this send to victims that if your boss engages of months of psychological warfare, the Prime Minister of Canada may promote them to the highest offices in the land? Truly, this is an unacceptable standard, or does the Prime Minister disagree? Does he believe this is acceptable?
The Honourable
Wow, we're only 2 weeks in and this is what we're getting.
Government House Leader.
Speaker, my colleague is a person of integrity who has been involved in public service on many levels, who has opted to serve her constituents and the public in this way. She's committed to healthy workplaces. She's committed to respect. She's committed to compassion, and she will be working hard to deliver results for her constituents, the people of Manitoba, and indeed all Canadians.
Manitoba Cabinet Minister harassed college employee in past job. External investigation concluded. This took place during 2019. Rebecca Chartrand directed Indigenous strategy at RRC Polytech. Says here she's subject of harassment investigation 2019. She's a Liberal member of Parliament for Northern Manitoba riding of Churchill. Kiwatnook Aski was appointed by Mark Carney in May to be the Northern Arctic Affairs Minister and responsible for Northern Economic Development Agency. Goes on to say here that Chartrand was a subject of harassment investigation during the final months of her 2-year stint as Executive Director of Indigenous Strategy at RRC Polytech, a Winnipeg post-secondary institution with annual enrollment of approximately 21,000 students. The complaint filed with RRC Polytech under its discrimination and harassment policy in September 2019, a former college employee claimed she was targeted, undermined, bullied, and harassed by Chartrand over the period of 8 months. The harassment took the form of threatening the employee's position, undermining her work and her management of other staff, interfering with her career, negatively impacting her reputation, increasing her workload, and imposing unreasonable deadlines, according to the complaint. Wow. So as Raquel Dancho says there, I guess those are the credentials to be sworn in as minister by Mark Carney? Do they not vet anyone, or is that the kind of people they're looking for? The real snakes. As this guy says, Liberals, anything goes. Apparently, Canadians deserve better. Next up, we got this one from Conservative Frank Caputo. Says Carney's Minister of Public Safety fails to commit to a review of Paul Bernardo's prison transfer out of maximum security. That's right, he won't commit to a review of this. Why? We don't know why.
Is he okay with the fact that Paul Bernardo, one of Canada's worst serial killers, remains in medium security?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our correctional services makes those determinations.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops Thompson Nicola.
That's not what I asked. I asked if he's okay with the fact he's in medium security, yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, this decision is not my decision or that of the Minister of Public Safety. These are decisions that are made by the Correctional Services Canada, and it's not subject to in any way my intervention.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops Thompson Nicola.
The minister can order a inquiry, as was done by Minister Goodale. Will he do that, yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I've already addressed this issue. The Correctional Services of Canada contributes to the safety of our institutions and communities by ensuring that all inmates are placed in institutions that match their security level. Inmates are classified based on the necessary degree of supervision.
This guy doesn't even want to do a review into one of the biggest monsters in Canadian history. It's unbelievable. I wonder if Gary Andesandri here even knows who Paul Bernardo is. Does he know who we're talking about here? Doesn't seem to care, does he? He'll be on day release by Christmas, if not sooner. Yeah, sure hope not. How long will it take to understand the Liberals are the problem? Pretty sure he doesn't know who Bernardo is. Yeah, he seems to not care at all. Probably doesn't know who the guy is. Disgusting. Bernardo should rot in the big house until he perishes. Yeah, he should. Bernardo is the worst of the worst. I worked in the prison system for 16 years. Only met one worse. Charles Ng. We got another response here from Donald Trump to the Joffrey Eggstein files comment. I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm here to fix it. This puts our country on the path of greatness. Make America great again. Well, the proof will be in the pudding. 6 months or a year from now, we'll see if this holds true or if all this tariff madness was bad for America.
There is breaking news this hour in the U.S. trade war on Canada. A new measure of how hard U.S. President Trump's tariffs are hitting Canadian manufacturers, those who sell their products to the United States. And Scott is here with the breaking data. Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. Yeah, this has now gone from the theoretical to really the physical reaction that we're seeing for the first time with the Trump tariffs and how impeded our exports are into the U.S. I don't know if you've got these charts, but there's three I'd like to share with you. One is the overall manufacturing trade deficit with the U.S. It's fallen to $7.1 billion. That's the largest trade deficit on record. Our exports, that dark blue line there, fell dramatically to $60.4 billion. That's down just for the month of April, down 11%. The imports, too, were down about 3.5% to $67 billion. The difference between those two works out to the $7.1 billion deficit, and that's, again, the largest on record. Another chart here is the import and export of motor vehicles and parts. This is when we saw the tariffs hitting up in full strength. Light blue is the imports of motor vehicles. That's down 11%, but the exports from Canada, a dark blue line, down 17.5%. Passenger cars and light trucks down 23% just for the month of April alone. And another chart here, this is exports of consumer goods. The exports of all consumer goods down about 16.5% to $7 billion in April. That's the lowest value since December 2023. And going through this report just out from Statistics Canada, pretty much all categories are to the downside. We export about 76% of all we produce south of the border. So we are seeing it in concrete, black and white terms, how much these tariffs are hurting our exports, in particular to the U.S., which takes a lot of our consumer goods.
Okay, Scott, thank you very much.
Is this elbows up? Are we winning yet? Clearly, we're crushing Trump as promised. Guess elbows weren't up far enough. Next up, we've got an infographic here showing South Asian immigration to Canada. The South Asian population nearly quadrupled in over 25 years from 1996 to 2021. Pinky color here is non-permanent residents. Immigrants is this light blue, and non-immigrants dark blue. Nearly 4 in 10 South Asian immigrants who landed here before 1980 were born outside South Asia. This blue color here is India. I know it's small. So this blue color is India. Pakistan is light blue. Sri Lanka is this pink. Bangladesh is the yellow. Nepal is dark blue. And outside South Asia is this gray color. I mean, this lines up with what we're seeing on the streets. Just a lot of people from India. It just creates little culture pockets that don't seem to be mixing with society, which is creating a major problem. And you're seeing businesses not hiring local Canadians, they're hiring people from India only, which is against the law, but that's what's happening. This one here in 2021, majority of first-generation South Asians were born in India, Pakistan, or Sri Lanka. We're seeing 64% from India, or 1.1 million people. And this one here, it says slightly more than half of all South Asian immigrants were admitted as economic immigrants, except those born in Sri Lanka. So this light blue is family reunification. Refugees is this pinky color. So we're seeing a lot of refugees from Sri Lanka. Economic is this blue, and others is yellow. This information all coming from Statistics Canada. Next up from CTV, we've got this one, Shazzy Goli posting it. This is a collection of people who are renting out their units and haven't been paid for nearly 2 years. People found ways to exploit the system and are living rent-free, and there's no way to deal with this.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. The vast majority of tenants are respectful and pay their rent on time, but a landlord group says there are a growing number who have found loopholes to avoid paying rent. Now there's a website that shows if a tenant has a history of problems.
She won't budge. So, and the house is in complete disarray. Like it's really bad.
Danielle Bro of Sunderland has a home in the country she rents out. For more than a year and a half, the woman who lives there has refused to pay rent. The home is now a complete mess, and Bro is owed $25,000. She has taken the tenant to the landlord and tenant board twice, but the tenant has been allowed to stay free of charge.
She has paid $0. So we can't do anything about it. Like our hands are tied. We have tried every route.
He's received multiple orders to pay his rent, but he just doesn't follow anything at all.
Sean Graywall of Brampton also has a rental property. His tenant has not paid the rent for almost 2 years and owes about $45,000. Graywall has also been before the landlord and tenant board, but there are constant delays and the tenant continues to live in his house.
These tenants know exactly what they're doing, and they will use the system and all the delays to just, live free as long as they can.
Solo, a group dedicated to helping small landlords, says professional tenants are creating havoc for families across Ontario.
People who deliberately go in, rent a unit, have no intention of paying, And it just keeps happening over and over.
The group is now advising landlords to check the website openroom.ca. It's a database where court orders regarding non-payment of rent and other issues can be uploaded so landlords and tenants can search to see if there's a history of problems.
We want to be able to match the law-abiding tenants with the law-abiding housing providers.
This is absurd. So if you work your butt off for years and years and you buy an extra house and you want to rent it out, you shouldn't have to deal with people not paying. If they don't pay, they should be forced out. The police should show up and just remove the people. Throw all their stuff out in the lawn, lock the doors. That's it. On the other side of it, I get people don't have places to live. It's expensive. The Trudeau Liberals have absolutely destroyed the country, but you got to take that out in the election. You have to vote for the right party. The people living in these houses who aren't paying their rent, did they vote Liberal or did they vote Conservative? I don't think people should be able to own multiple rentals, maybe one or two. There should be a cap on it. People shouldn't have 20 or 30 or 50 houses that they rent out. Housing shouldn't be like the biggest business in Canada, aside from developers building houses and selling them to people. But it's one of the biggest commodities in Canada, and the prices are so inflated because we have all this dirty money coming from China that overinflates it. We got people like Justin Trudeau has a real estate development company, gets into power, brings in so much immigration, too many people, not enough houses, prices goes up. There's a lot of problems here. We can start by having people pay their rent or they have to move out. I think this is very reasonable. Because at what point do these landlords then sue the government or sue the board who is supposed to kick these people out? I mean, somebody's got to get sued for rent not being paid. Otherwise, people aren't going to rent the houses. They just won't rent them. And then there's even less housing stock. You can't punish the people who have houses who want to rent them out. That's what's going on.
There is currently a housing shortage in Ontario. Some landlords say unless the rules change, it's just not worth taking a chance and having a bad tenant.
Exactly. They're not going to rent them out. The government is run by idiots. Like, fix this problem. This would be very easy to fix with basic legislation.
It's a housing crisis. And, maybe this is why people don't want to be landlords anymore. Like, we certainly don't. This is a headache.
And since its launch 2 years ago, openroom.ca has had over 130,000 visitors. Many landlords are now checking the website before accepting a tenant to see if they have any red flags in their past.
Like, how do people even get out of this situation? Hope that hoarder house there starts a fire and the house burns down so they can get the insurance money so they don't have to deal with it anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if homeowners light their own houses on fire when the tenant is out just to cash in on the insurance money because dealing with the situation is so bad. Rent the place to me, I'll get them out. I mean, that's another thing. There's these services where you can rent it to these people and they will get the tenant out. And that's a whole business now, is getting tenants out. It's crazy. Just put in some basic legislation that says people have to pay or they have to move out. Police show up, escort people out. That's it. Pull the doors off. My hero, landlords going bankrupt are good for the economy. I mean, there needs to be a balance here. We shouldn't have people with 25 houses renting them out, but we should also not allow people to live in houses and not pay rent.